Hi, you're with Peter Carr and Scott Stewart on LTV's The Research Channel. Cloud computing, enduring topic. We actually copped a little bit of slack a few weeks ago when we said that the cloud bubble might be bursting. I think some of those comments were taken out of context. We were really talking about the data that isn't really supporting this booming adoption at the user end. There's certainly wonderful things happening at the supply end. The demand is still there. So supply is great, demand's great, adoption isn't keeping up with those messages.
Yeah, totally. I think the whole message of going to the cloud, which is kind of ridiculous really, because it means so many different things to so many different types of businesses. So the marketing message really needs to sort of be segmented more into what that means. So if you're a startup, if you're a web development shop, if you're a small business, they're totally different propositions than if you're an enterprise that might have 200 enterprise applications.
It's like if you're looking at a topic like business intelligence or analytics, the sorts of technology you require, depending on the different types of workloads or processes within your organization, are going to be very different. So cloud is the same. The one area of the cloud market that we're still really energized about is this model of the emerging cloud broker. So can you just give us a quick synopsis of that?
Yeah, the cloud broker, it's an interesting model, and we will talk about an actual example that's been announced into the market. But basically, if you can imagine a service provider that doesn't provide cloud services themselves, but actually sources them from the market and does all the vendor management, does all the legals, does all the training, the education, all the billing, the logistics, the contractual, the marketing. Can you imagine all those sort of added additional things? Service management, service assurance, SLA management, the list is huge.
Are we talking about the ability to access cloud services from one of our existing service providers? So in a lot of ways, the decisions around what sort of cloud services we need to buy, which provider of cloud services, which is where all the confusion is at the moment. We know from the Pulse studies that we've done that there are just dozens and dozens and dozens of cloud providers. There are dozens and dozens and dozens, hundreds of cloud services out there. So isn't the real benefit of this cloud broker model the fact that if we have a trusted relationship with some kind of service provider, whatever they are, it might be a business service provider, a supply chain service provider, if they're now willing to extend their service offerings to us to include these cloud services, then that's the crux of the cloud, that cloud broker.
Absolutely, and it's cloud as a service. So if you think that you want to get into the cloud market, typically what a lot of these providers are doing is that they're taking their existing managed service offering or their hosting offering, and they're kind of rebadging it as cloud, and we know that we've been calling that cloud washing. And this other option of actually going to an existing service provider that already you purchase services off, they already bill you, and you can select infrastructure as a service, and you're getting true cloud capability. You're getting the scalability, you're getting elasticity, you're getting the billing, the granular provisioning.
But I go back to the point for most businesses, but you don't have to worry about doing these massive assessments of all these sorts of functions or all these different suppliers in the market, because that decision is already being made for you. So I guess the reason we're very interested and happy to talk about this and excited by it is that there is actually a great working model in the Australian market today.
Yes, it was announced just recently, Ingram Micro. So Ingram Micro, nearly everyone in the ICT industry who secures or procures rather ICT services more than likely has an account with Ingram Micro. So through licensing and through logistics.
And shipping a lot of product for different companies and things like that.
So they have moved into this cloud broking space. So they've selected UltraServe as the first of many to come.
UltraServe was the rising star in the cloud market, the Australian cloud market that we identified last year.
That's right. So when we did the study, the market scan on the cloud service providers, the trusted infrastructure as a service, UltraServe was number 3 against 2 big heavyweights, which was an outstanding achievement. And so we called them at the time the next generation cloud provider. So they're young, very agile, very very innovative, creative kind of guys. And so they've pulled something pretty amazing here.
I actually think they've stolen the march on some of the big vendors in the market. Yes. So I guess the message here is that the activity that we're likely to see in terms of adoption will probably be more of this supplier to supplier relationships as opposed to direct relationships between the cloud vendor and the end user organisation. Certainly in a lot of the Australian market, at that mid-market level, and we all know that Australia has a limited number of large organisations. There's only about 5,000 with more than 1,000 employees, but a very large mid-market base. And so these kind of cloud broker relationships will really tap into that mid-market base, and we expect those adoption numbers to change dramatically in the next 12 to 24 months, because what Ingram Micro has something like 7,000 customers or partners in their network, so even a small percentage of them who are then able to procure and cost optimize some of these services is really going to be a great proof point for the industry. So anything to wrap up on?
Yeah, I think it's going to mature the market, because Ultraserve are a company who focus purely on delivering quality infrastructure as a service, and whereas these providers don't have to concentrate on that, they can focus on their core business, they can access mature, ready, go-to-market cloud, and I think it's a sensational sort of
and look, it's probably worth saying, look, for the cloud vendors who are out there and the cloud vendors who actually see this video, one of the things we will be looking at in our 2012 cloud vendor assessment, which is starting very soon, is going to be some of this capacity for being a true cloud broker or providing these sorts of services. And one of the key elements of that is obviously having the right kind of service management capability with their cloud offering. So that's kind of a little bit of a heads up for the cloud vendors in the market.